Hello and welcome to Racers Now. With the ARC meeting now in the bag, that means that British Champions Day is less than 2 weeks away. 4 Group 1s at Ascot on Saturday, October the 19th. And we'll be looking at any changes in the market since our first videos. Looking forward to British Champions Day and any value to be had at this stage. As I've learnt to my detriment and my cost over the years, with this fixture comes a bit of a warning. End of season, often bad ground. Yes, it's in the middle of October. It will often come up soft. And there has been many funny results over the years. You just look at last year, for example. 101 in running in the first 2 races got beat. Kyprios and Kinross both went the minimum price on the exchange. Both hit the front and both defeated by a horse that was battling back. So yeah, can throw up some funny results again with that soft ground, long season, etc., etc. So we're going to flick through the races. The opening race is the long distance cup, over 2 miles. Many familiar names in there, and unfortunately, still a Group 2. But no penalties to be carried by the likes of Group 1 winners like Kyprios. Group 2, mainly because it's a pretty new race, mainly because it doesn't fit within the pattern. There is a 2-mile Group 1 over on ARC weekend, the Prix de Cadron, won by Kyprios again, just this weekend, just gone. So this remains as a Group 2, but it's a Group 2 in all but name only, and it is pretty much a Group 1 field. And like I say, no penalties to be carried. Kyprios narrowly beaten in this year on the back of what was an injury hit season, but he's been perfect since. Kyprios, 6 races in 2024, 6 wins, 4 of them at Group 1 level, including the Cadron, as I mentioned. And the plan is to come here. He's backed up from the Cadron to the Long Distance Cup at Ascot before, and he looks likely to be doing that again. I mean, as we've known and as I've said for some time, I think he's head and shoulders above the rest, to be honest. I really, really do. I thought that for a while about Kyprios, and I think he's just proven it over and over again. He's one of the best stayers, well, certainly the best stayer I've ever seen in my time, and quite possibly one of the best ever. He's now won 8 Group 1s, which I think is a record for any individual horse that Aidan O'Brien has trained in terms of Group 1 wins. And he's odds on. He's 10 to 11, and he could well be shorter on the day. Trawlerman won this race last year and might well have another go, but he just doesn't run that often, does he, Trawlerman? I mean, runs this year in March and June. He's not been seen since the Ascot Gold Cup, where he was second, beaten second. I think it was 2 lengths behind Kyprios, but he's not been seen since then. So will he turn up here? Possibly, but we're not 100% sure at this stage. One worth mentioning, I think, is Al Nair. Or Al Nair. He's the new kid on the block, if you like. Despite being a 6-year-old, he's had 2 starts for Tom Clover this year in the UK, which has seen him be a short head in the Lonsdale Cup at York behind Vauban. And then he was an 8-length listed winner at Newmarket over 2 miles last time. So this Al Nair looks a horse going places for Tom Clover. He could provide a new challenge to King Kyprios. The first of the 4 Group 1s on British Champions Day is the Champion Sprint. And as has been the case all year, particularly in the 6 furlong division, it just looked wide open. It's 9-2 the field currently. Kinross won this race in 2022, was second last year, having gone 101 in running, as mentioned. And he ran a really nice second in the Group 1 foray on ARC weekend just gone. That looked a really deep race, that foray. Plenty of runners, plenty of good quality runners in there, and Kinross was second. So he might be getting on now, Kinross, 7 years old, but he's shown, particularly on his last 2 starts, a winner at Doncaster in very, very easy fashion, and then that good second in the foray, a race that he has won previously before coming on to this Champion Sprint. So would have as good a chance as any, clearly, and that's why he's the 9-2 market leader. But it is wide open, as you can tell by the betting. I put up Unequal Love for this race a few weeks ago when we first looked at it at 14-1. She's now 10-1, Unequal Love. And I think she's been pretty good and progressive this year. She was a really nice third in the Sprint Cup last time at Haydock, and she could have definitely won that race on another day if things would have fell right in another day. That was a draw race. There was a couple of unlucky horses, one of which we'll come on to. I'm not saying Unequal Love was unlucky, but she ran really, really well, was closing strongly at the line and could have won on another day. Soft ground, fine for her. She's already a course and distance winner, Unequal Love, at the Royal Meeting earlier this year. Montasib was the winner of the Sprint Cup, and he's in here at 6-1. It was a bit of a shock winner of the Sprint Cup, 20 to 1 SP on the day, but clearly likes soft ground. He's an intended runner here, and both Unequal Love and Montasib, both trained by William Haggis. SD, as we know, is a big fan of this Flora of Bermuda, who was a big eye catcher at Haydock in that Sprint Cup. It was a non-runner in the foray over the weekend in Paris. She's 12 to 1, so no doubt SD will have his eye on Flora of Bermuda as and when she is declared for this British Champion Sprint Stakes, and he may well put her up when declamations are made. Shout out at this stage to Bouvatier from France, who Hump put up last week for the foray at 33 to 1. He finished third and ran a massive race in that foray from a bad draw, double figure draw. He was the highest finishing double figure drawn horse. He's 20 to 1 best price at the moment for this Sprint Stakes and would be a player if running. We don't know the running plans at the moment. I'm hoping to find out from Hump, and we'll put that on Twitter or in the description. But yeah, if Bouvatier was turning up here, would be a big player. Travelled really well through that foray from a wide draw, came wide up the straight. Ramacha well won that race, would never have got anywhere near her. She was impressive, but Bouvatier caught the eye there, and at 20 to 1, in an open season for the 6 furlong horses, would be a definite contender if turning up. Onto the Filly and Mares, which is over 1.5 miles. Arc winner Blue Stocking is still in this race, but probably won't run given what she did over the weekend in France in winning the Arc. And Judmont also have the current anti-post favourite, Kalpana, who was bang impressive last time at Kempton. Although proper soft ground would be a question mark for Kalpana. She's not tried it before. She is pretty lightly raced. And on figures, yes, she was impressive at Kempton, but that was only a Group 3. This is going to be a step up, even if there is no Blue Stocking in here. I think Kalpana is going to have a fair bit to prove. And at 7 to 4, with the question marks over overall form at top level and definite question marks over what could be soft ground in the middle of October, I think Kalpana is pretty short for me at 7 to 4 at the moment. Aidan O'Brien usually looms large over this race, but possibly not this year. Opera Singer might struggle on trip and ground. She's actually entered in 3 races, the Fillies and Mares, the QE2, and the Champion itself. So where Opera Singer runs, we don't know. She was meant to actually run over Art Weekend in the Lopra. She didn't. Ylang Ylang took her place in the Opera there. So is Opera Singer actually had a setback? I'm not sure. So she might struggle on the ground and the trip. Content is also in there at the moment for Aidan O'Brien. Definitely wants quicker ground, in my opinion. Ran over the weekend in that Lopra on very soft ground and finished basically last. So I wouldn't be interested in Content. Grateful. It might be coming under the radar for the Coolmore team, given that she's just won what looked a pretty soft, not in terms of ground, in terms of quality, pretty poor quality Group 1 against her own sex on Arc Weekend. That was on the Saturday, not Arc Day itself. That was over 14 furlong. And Grateful's a horse that's been running over, usually running over further trips than 1.5 miles. Would she drop back for this 1.5 mile contest? Possibly. And she might be a runner in her own right. Grateful in there at 20 to 1. At the moment, no bet at the moment in the Filly and Mares, but I'd certainly be in no rush to be back in Kalpana at 7 to 4, and I can see that price drifting or getting bigger as the ground conditions become a bit clearer, as the field becomes a bit clearer as well. The QE2 over a straight mile. I still think, and I said a few weeks ago, I think that Charyn will go off odds on for this race, and you can still back him at 7 to 4. And for that reason, he's a bet. I should have put him up as a bet when I did the original video a couple of weeks ago, to be honest, at 2 to 1, but I didn't. But if you're thinking that a horse that you can back anti-post is 7 to 4 and he's going to go odds on, that by the definition of anyone's betting should be a bet. So it is. Charyn, 7 to 4. You're not going to get rich back in the 7 to 4 on our Racers Now 1 point win or 1 point each way system. But forget that. I'm miles behind SD anyway. I do think Charyn will go off odds on, and the fact that he's available at 7 to 4 makes him a bet. I just think that he is head and shoulders above the rest in this division, in this market, in this race. Any ground is fine for him. He's already proven that. He's a two-time Group 1 winner this season, including over course and distance. That was on quick ground. He's won on soft ground. And there's a load in here that just simply will not run. I mean, you've got opera singer, as mentioned, notable speeches going to America. Inspiral's been retired following a last run in the Sun Chariot. Big Rock, I can't see him running. He ran over the weekend and was crap over in Paris. Nashua is apparently Breeders' Cup bound. Diego Velasquez is going down under for the Cox Plate. Then there's others that are unlikely to run, in my opinion. But don't be. But that's not to say they won't. But I don't think they will. Henry Longfellow, Fallen Angel, etc. I just think Charyn is just miles above those that will run, and there's a load in here that won't run as well, which will bring his price further down. Tamfana and Prague may well be Charyn's closest challengers in the market and on the day. Tamfana won her first Group 1 against her own sex in the Sun Chariot last weekend at Newmarket. That was in good style, to be fair, winning by over 2 lengths in a good field, again, against her own sex. This would be a step up in quality. I'm not sure if she's an intended runner at this stage. She probably should be, to be fair, given her profile. She's pretty lightly raced. She won't mind the ground and should definitely be a contender if she was running, but would have to step up markedly again to get close to an informed Charyn. Prague won the Joel Stakes in good style recently at Newmarket. That's a Group 2. That was for Dylan Cooner. Won really well on that day. And he's a horse on the up, under the radar for Dylan Cooner, who's an up-and-coming trainer. I really like Dylan Cooner, the South African, now in Newmarket. He would need to be supplemented, though, and that comes at a pretty big cost. Will he be supplemented? I think he probably should. He's earned his right to be in here, Prague. He's won well on his last 2 starts. So, yeah, they've got money in the bank from those winnings. Let's chuck him in here and see how he gets on. The next best or biggest challengers could come from France in French Guineas winner Metropolitan and Factor Cheval, who we've seen already this season over at Royal Ascot. But Charyn has already proven he's better than both of them this season in different races. He's already proved better than them. Factor Cheval was the victim of an absolutely shambolic ride at Royal Ascot in the QE2. Go back and watch that one back. But yeah, are they going to get near Charyn? I don't think so. It has been a long season for Charyn. That's the only argument you could make against him. He's raced in March, April, May, June. I think he had July off, August, September. So he's been a very busy boy. But I do think on form, which is proven over and over again, he is better than the rest of these. I think there'll be a reduced field, and I think people are just going to latch on to Charyn that he's just head and shoulders above 7-4, and I still think he'll go off odds on. The final Group 1 of the day on British Champions Day is the Champion Stakes itself. And it's as you were from our first video, really. Economics versus Calandagan. 5-4 versus Economics versus 2-1 Calandagan. And it's any price you like. The rest, most of which currently priced up, won't run anyway. I know I've said similar about the QE2. But yeah, many of them are from the Aidan O'Brien yard and they're still priced up. I mean, look, City of Troy, definitely not running. Breeders' Cup bound. August Rodin is going to the Japan Cup. Opera singer, we've mentioned her again. Will she be running at all on Champions Day? Will she like the ground? Probably not. Luxembourg, Henry Longfellow, Diego Velasquez is Australia bound. I can't see any of them running. So it's Economics versus Calandagan. Could be a small field. Could be six, maybe 7 runners. But that doesn't matter. There's 2 proper top-class horses taking on each other. As we know, Economics won the Irish Champion Stakes on his coming out party at the top level last time. He's definitely the most exciting horse in training for me, mainly because he is still untapped potential, whereas City of Troy, very exciting in his own right. We've seen what he can do. He's proven it, and he's going to try and prove it on dirt on his next start. But that's for another video. Economics, wildly exciting. Calandagan, a Royal Ascot winner in his own right, second behind City of Troy in the Juddmonte. 2 big guns going at it. It doesn't matter to me if this is a 2-horse race or a 22-horse race. They're the 2 that we're looking forward to seeing. Yeah, I think there'll be 6 or 7 runners. The likes of Anmat and horses like that might well run. My Prospero. Alrifa might run as well. He ran in the Arc. I think he'll be better at 10 furlongs anyway. Those are the horses that might run, but it's all about the top 2 in this market and the big 2. And it could be, and it will be, if they both turn up, which they should, an absolute cracker. So thanks for watching. As usual here on Racers Now, we've got all the big Group 1s covered, and we're starting to look forward to the jump season soon. We've got SD on fire. Make sure you take checking out SD's written column as well over at oddsnow.com. But thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back soon.